Hello, my name is Brenda Torres. Good afternoon, and today my presentation will be on Chapter 7, Counseling Microskills from an Orientation to the Counseling Profession by Bradley Airford. What are counseling microskills? According to Orientation to the Counseling Profession, counseling microskills are a set of verbal and behavioral responses a counselor uses in session to begin a therapeutic relationship. They help build and strengthen the relationship to assist the client to grow throughout treatment. Essentially, they're skills that a counselor uses to help show the client that they're being seen, heard, and understood within the session. They are also the foundation in counseling skills, so this means that they're not exclusive to a theoretical orientation. This means that someone coming from a humanistic theory and someone coming from psychoanalytical theory would be able to use these skills within the session to help build rapport and help that therapeutic relationship grow. There were 3 things that stood out to me while I was reading this chapter. The first was the importance of attending skills. According to Orientation to the Counseling Profession, attending skills are how counselors show clients that they are interested in the session by utilizing verbal and behavioral responses. So this is using eye contact, body language, and vocal tone. They're used once treatment starts and will essentially help encourage or discourage a client to pursue treatment. Attending skills help build trust and help enforce that the counselor is present with the client. So this means that how a counselor presents themselves within the session, how they're using their body language, their eye contact, and their vocal tone to show the client that they are interested in what they're saying, to help provide empathy with what their client is saying, and also help validate their feelings. So all of this that you're doing as a counselor will help create a safe space for the client to be able to feel like they're not being judged and be able to disclose details for their presenting problem or issue. This is really emphasized with the counseling primer, where they say attending skills are important because in order to understand the underlying message the client has, you must do so by attending physically. So whenever you are able to create the safe space for the clients, then they are able to feel like they are able to share these feelings, these emotions, these details with the counselor. The second thing that I found interesting was open-ended versus closed questions. According to Orientation to the Counseling Profession, open-ended questions help the client lead the sessions and allow the client to give fuller and more meaningful responses, whereas closed questions allow the counselor to lead the sessions by asking questions that demand specific and factual responses. Both will get a counselor information, but a counselor is the one that needs to decide which one would be more appropriate in session as seen in Figure 1. So open-ended questions, if we were to give examples, would be like in the beginning of a session, a counselor might ask, what has brought you into session today? Or what would you like to discuss in session today? That would allow the client to have autonomy within the session and be able to provide details as to what is going on with them, what they want to work on. Versus if a clinician wanted to use a closed question to get more specific, more concrete information, they would use something like, have you thought about suicide? This gives the client a chance to respond with either a yes or no, and the clinician is able to document accurately. The third thing that I found interesting while reading this chapter was how reflections of feelings can help clients become more self-aware. So according to Orientation to the Counseling Profession, a counselor reflecting feelings helps the client be more aware of their emotions related to the current problem. So this is done so by a counselor being able to recognize and put words to the feeling observed in the client. This is reflecting feelings, and it helps them become more self-aware. So for example, of reflecting feelings with the client, let's use Taylor Swift's song, I Could Do It With a Broken Heart, where she says, I cry a lot, but I am so productive. So a way to reflect these feelings would be to say, it sounds like you're feeling a bit emotional lately, but you are pushing yourself to keep going. So by reflecting feelings, a professional counselor can help the client become aware of the emotions experienced in relation to the issue at hand. This also helps the counselor deepen self-disclosure and can help promote empathy, but you do have to be careful not to overshoot or undershoot when reflecting feelings. Overshooting is when a counselor reflects a feeling more intensely than when a client is presenting, and vice versa. Undershooting is whenever a counselor kind of minimizes the emotion and kind of plays it a little bit safe when it comes to reflecting. How will this impact my counseling career? Attending skills will help counselors by learning how to create a safe space for clients to open up. It helps them be more self-aware of how they're utilizing their body language, their eye contact, and vocal tone. This is very important, especially when it comes to different ethnicities or cultures, which is emphasized in section 8.4b. As a counselor, you do have to be aware that some of the body language or eye contact that we use with certain clients will not be the same with other clients. For example, in some cultures, direct eye contact is seen more as a disrespectful thing than it is a respectful thing. So that might actually cause the client to be a little bit more guarded within the session. This will also help counselors know how to provide self-disclosure within the guidelines of section 8.4b. Open-ended questions will help counselors promote section 8.4b more ethically by being, like I said, more self-aware of their own values, beliefs, and also be able to be more open to the client's values and beliefs. Closed questions will help a counselor by abiding by section 8.1c, which is of documenting correctly. So being able to use those closed questions to get concrete facts in order to document what the client is telling you appropriately. In conclusion, counseling micro skills are important no matter what your theoretical orientation is. These skills will be utilized with every client to promote a safe space and will help get details in session and promote empathy. These key points discussed will contribute to the therapeutic relationship as seen in Figure 2. All these skills, attending skills, open-ended questions, closed questions, and reflective feelings all contribute to the therapeutic relationship. Thank you so much for your time. That was my presentation on counseling micro skills.